Another research project that we've been involved in has to do with the destratification of our local Charles River Basin between Cambridge and Boston here. Ever since they created a dam, the current dam being down at North Station, salt water has intruded from Boston Harbor into the basin. And this is a combination of natural processes, the boat lockage that occurs on 4th of July and other times allows salt to come in. There are also leaks in various locations. And the result of this is the bottom half of the basin is filled with salt water. And salt water is heavier than fresh water, and that prevents mixing. So there's a lot of organic matter that degrades and it consumes oxygen. And if there were mixing, the bottom waters would mix with the surface waters and they would remain well oxygenated. But because there isn't mixing, the bottom waters become anoxic, and as a result, much of the time, there is virtually no oxygen in the deeper layers of the basin. And of course, this is an environmental problem. So what to do about it? The predecessor to our DCR, which was the MDC, used to deploy bubblers to mix the basin, and our students went out and did field studies. They showed that they basically worked. They were not real efficient. They cost a lot of money to run the compressors. They fell into disrepair. It wasn't a high priority for MDC to repair them, and so shortly after they were used, they stopped functioning. But we've recently looked at alternative ways to affect the same kind of mixing. That has involved using turbulent jets of hot water that come from a power plant that's on the Charles River, just downstream from the Longfellow Bridge. So it turns out that you could take their waste heat that they currently discharge through the surface, you put it on the bottom with enough energy, and that can stir the bottom waters and cause mixing and, at least locally, destratification. So we've done model studies that show that this is the case. Unfortunately, EPA didn't particularly like this approach, and the company, which has changed names, has proposed to use a different kind of cooling system, so this isn't going to take place in the immediate future. But our results showed that it would work. Most marine life, and in particular the fish that use the Charles River, and there's a lot of fish that migrate upstream and also downstream in the Charles River, they need oxygen. And oxygen is probably the most prototypical water quality parameter that there is. There are standards that say that oxygen levels should be 5 or 6 milligrams per liter, depending on the environment. And so when you have levels that are less than 1 and sometimes 0, that's a serious violation of water quality. The problem is it's kind of below the surface and out of sight, out of mind. A lot of people aren't aware of it. There's a big effort to get the Charles River restored, and a lot of positive work has been done. It is nominally swimmable most of the time. A lot of the combined sewer overflows that used to discharge, their frequency of discharge is vastly reduced. A lot of cleanup has taken place. So a lot of marvelous effort has taken place on the surface. And my lament is that the same effort hasn't been placed at the bottom.